Hi and welcome to another episode. Sat behind me is a BYD E6 and this is a taxi with a difference. It runs on 100% renewable energy. In terms of styling, this reminds me of a slightly inflated 2009 Kia Rio. And the real plus point for the E6, it's got a huge boot space. And if you lift the boot floor and you look into here, you've got a spare wheel. It's funny how the Chinese manage to fit it in, but every other manufacturer doesn't. I feel like we might be being a bit ripped off. As the battery's stored beneath the seats, it does make the floor quite high, but that makes access nice and easy. Under here, you get a 101 brake horsepower motor, which is powered by a 60 kilowatt lithium-ion polymer battery. Let me introduce you to Rob, the entrepreneur behind Rentee and this fleet of taxis. Here, in the centre of Birmingham, local Uber drivers can hire out one of these fully electric BYDs for a fraction of the cost of running their own internal combustion taxi. But I'll let Rob do the explaining.
Hi Rob, thank you very much for having us. Really nice to meet you. Yeah, nice to meet you. Just give us a quick rundown. What are you doing here? Because this all seems quite amazing. Electric taxis, renewable source. How does it all work? We're in the centre of Birmingham.
So we're Rentee, and in effect we lease out taxis on a short-term basis to taxi drivers, and these taxis are all got a fleet of 10 BYD E6s. They're all powered by renewable electricity at our site using rapid chargers. So
BYD, not a car that you see here on the UK roads very often. I don't think I've ever seen one apart from the 10 that you've got in your car park charging. How is it that you come to have 10 and we've never seen them?
Yeah, so interestingly actually BYD are a massive electric car manufacturer. I think they're actually the biggest in terms of manufacturing in the world, but it's all based in China and Asia. So they've got a small UK team here, and they basically import over a few to use within a few select taxi firms in the UK. So it's mainly based in London. We're the first taxi company outside of London to actually start using the BYDs. So really exciting. Wow. But they've obviously not got a network. They're not trying to sell cars here at the moment, not got the dealerships and network to service them in the same way.
Which is a real shame really, because from what you've said, that in terms of reliability, customer feedback, driver feedback, I mean it's been positive, hasn't it, all in all? It's
been brilliant. All the feedback we've had from drivers so far has been they've loved being in the cars. They've loved that there's no sound with it. That the regen braking and auto gearbox means that as a taxi driver it's so effortless to use, and they're comfy cars to be in, nice spacious cars. So feedback, and that is from customers as well, Uber customers. So the feedback from both drivers and the Uber customers has been overwhelmingly positive for the cars.
I think that's a real good point there, because actually you're touching a lot of people with this car, aren't you? In terms of us having an electric car as our personal possession, it's completely different. But for you, picking up customer after customer after customer in Birmingham and then seeing an electric car might be their first experience of travelling in an electric car, and then might make them go on and buy one, or at least think about buying one. So definitely,
and that's what we're really keen to. We're massive EV advocates as well as a company, and
you're a great bloke, because we are as well. We love EV advocates.
And the fact that we've only launched 8 weeks ago. We've got 25 drivers using our 10 cars at the moment. Wow. The cars have travelled 25,000 miles already.
In 8 weeks?
In 8 weeks. And we'd estimate we've had over 2,000 customers sit in the back of those cars. That's in the centre of Birmingham. You don't get that many electric cars other than your Tesla outside in the car park. But in Birmingham you don't get many electric cars, so to get 2,000 bums in electric cars and probably their first experience in an EV is great. Who knows what that'll mean in terms of trying to drive adoption into EVs in the long term.
Absolutely. So try and explain to me how, if I was an Uber driver and I came to you and I wanted to drive from Birmingham to Wolverhampton 5 times, and then the range started to get low on the car, how would I charge it, or what would I do?
So basically the drivers have got 2 options. Either they can charge anywhere on the road if they think that that's more time efficient for them to do that, if they're in Wolverhampton and there's a rapid charger there, but alternatively they can bring it back and charge it at our site, or swap it over to another car. So for example, if a driver is out driving, has chosen to drive for 12-14 hours in one day, what we'd recommend is that after 7 hours we create 2 bookings. So the 7 hours they come back, get a completely clean and completely charged car to go out for the next 7 hours.
Brilliant.
Removes the range anxiety for them.
Yeah, and obviously a clean car. I can imagine if you work a Friday or Saturday night, the cars can get quite messy.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So talk to us a little bit about where the electricity comes from, because you said 100% renewable. So
so we're based just about 10 minutes outside of Birmingham city centre, right in the centre, right next door to the Viola power plant, which powers a lot of Birmingham. But actually the site we're based on is an old manufacturing company, 300-year-old manufacturing company called Webster and Horsfall. They made wire in effect here. They're now realising that actually, as manufacturing is decreasing and they're becoming more of a supply and distributor, they've got a huge amount of energy, a huge amount of land, and they built a couple of years ago a biomass plant within their own site and their own land. So they've now got all their own electricity for their own operations is powered by this biomass plant, but also they've got excess energy. So it's a perfect synergy for us to come in and say, well, we'll use your renewable energy, we're using up excess energy you've already got, and it means our fleet is completely renewable. 100%
renewable. That is amazing in the centre of Birmingham. How does it compare in terms of cost to grid electricity?
So it's slightly cheaper.
So there's an incentive there as well for you to use, isn't there? That is absolutely fantastic. So if I was to bring a taxi in at the middle of the night, the taxi driver would then plug it in for you? Is that part of the deal, that they have to re-plug it in?
Yeah, so in effect, when a taxi driver comes to pick up their car, all they have to do, they're set up on the Renty app. Their bookings, they book online through that, and then basically press a button to unlock the car, take the car off charge, put it back in the charger, away they go. When they're returning the car, it's just the opposite process. So they put the car on charge, lock it, and they're booking, and away they go. And
that's excellent. So they plug it in for you, they're essentially empty, and how long would that take till it was fully recharged?
So if it's completely empty, it's about 2 hours, but in general it's about an hour, because they're rapid 42 kilowatt output chargers, so they're pretty quick.
That's a high output actually. That's only 8 kilowatts lower than what you get on most motorway services. Outside of Tesla, they're generally about 50 kilowatts, so that is amazing, and you've got that just down there in that car park.
And 6 of them.
Which is absolutely fantastic. Rob, thank you very much for talking to me, it's been brilliant. Would you mind if I drove one?
Of course.
Thank you very much, thank you very much.
Rob's excellent app ensures access for the drivers 24 hours a day.
On the screen what time, they just press get key, which in effect means that they've got an electronic key. It's downloading the vehicle charge, and then it simply shows up open doors, locked doors, but then it's as simple as pressing open doors and you heard it unlock. Unlock the doors, all they have to do is take the car off charge, slip back in, and then they're ready to go and drive. It's as simple as that. Once they finish their shift, if I unlock the door again, they can pull this cable out of the charger. They simply press the start button, which comes up on the screen. Just press that, and then it won't actually show it charging now because it's fully charged. So it says vehicle charging prohibited, but that's all they need to do. And in effect, then they just close the doors, lock the car up, and then end their reservation.
We bumped into Danny, a regular Renty driver, to see what makes it work for him.
Yeah, definitely the main reason for driving an electric car is the fuel cost. It is like literally minuscule compared to running a diesel car, and as I said, diesels are more noisier, this is quieter, especially at night, picking up passengers. You're gonna come in at say 12 midnight, it's quiet, no one hears you, and you go away, whereas a diesel will be chugga, and obviously it's cleaner for the environment. Customers absolutely love the car. They always asking me how long can I drive it for before I got to charge and stuff like that. And it's excellent. I've driven it for like 6 hours non-stop without stopping, and it's off a 2-hour charge. So
and how far would you get off a full charge, would you say?
I imagine like I do about 190 miles.
190?
Yeah. Throughout the whole of the hours.
190 miles?
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Because sometimes you get drops to and from Coventry, to and from Warsaw, to and from Wolverhampton, and obviously you drive around the city all night as well. So it just varies from day to day, really. But you get massive amount of mileage. Much more. If I was putting in fuel, I'd easily be putting in 60 quid.
Yeah.
A day.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And of course, Rob had the obligatory spin in our Tesla, which only seemed fair.
Hello, we are in the BYD E6. We are now taking this back to Birmingham. We've had it for a few hours and I think it's fair to say we're quite impressed. Just to give you an idea of the range, when I got in it at 99%, I beg your pardon, it said 196 miles. We've driven 50 miles and it has used exactly 20%. In fact, it's used, yes it has, it's just dropped to 79.
Yeah.
So it's used exactly 20%. So I think it's fair to say the range is...
It's fairly true to what it says.
Pretty spot on. And when I brought it back from Birmingham, I wasn't hanging around. You know, we don't do this 55 mile an hour business. We are at the speed limits, and if we were on a private road, I think it's fair to say that this car would be okay at around about 80 miles an hour.
I agree.
What do you think?
I agree. I think for me this is the first time I've ever driven this car, and I think like James says, it is slightly unrefined, it's a bit grainy, it's noisy, it's certainly more noisy than any other EV I've driven, but it's a taxi, it's got a purpose and it definitely works as a taxi. It's high,
Absolutely.
So for people to get into it, it's nice and easy. Huge boot for people's luggage if they're going to the airport or wherever they're going. Brilliant for a pushchair. Loads of space in the back for 3 adults. Easily 3 adults in there. So, and it's got some really nice features. For a Chinese car, it doesn't look too bad.
Well, we say Chinese, but actually, as in industry, what we tend to do is get stuff manufactured in China.
It's true.
Most of the top-notch, high-tech stuff is manufactured in China, so it's no surprise that actually this is a better car than what we assumed it would be.
Yeah.
It definitely is plasticky. There's plenty of plastics inside, and
The seats are a bit...
hard wearing.
Yeah.
Hard wearing, not leather.
That's what you need.
That is what you need for a taxi. But I think actually this would have another market, you know. Imagine if we just look around at what we drive past.
Yeah.
We don't often see Teslas, we don't often see very, very expensive Mercedes and things like that. We see Peugeot 307s, Rover 45, Nissan Qashqai, things like that. So actually this would fit in. They're the sort of cars that you drive past every day, you pay no attention to, and...
It's probably an everyday EV, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is. And I think they would sell loads of these, simply because of the cost to run it, and simply because of the space. Imagine if you've got 3 kids, you want to do the school run.
Am I going through the Neaton?
Yes.
I think looks-wise, it's not kind of... I wouldn't say it's my thing. It does look a bit like a 4x4 from the outside, but it certainly doesn't feel like one.
What would you say in terms of power delivery and acceleration since you've driven it?
It's probably not the best. It's not as fast as some other EVs, but for a taxi, you're driving it around town most of the time, aren't you? So you don't need that massive bit of acceleration.
It's 101 brake horsepower, isn't it? 100, about 100, yeah. That's plenty. That's plenty.
It's a fairly big car, but it's enough.
Yeah, it is. It has quite a good function on it, actually. It has an eco button, as most EVs do have, and that restricts you to just under 40 kilowatts draw, which probably on some bits of the motorway when you need to overtake isn't enough, but for round town it's more than adequate. It's gentle acceleration, but it's acceleration that goes along with the traffic. So
the layout inside, it's good, it's clear, you can see what you need to see, you've got the clocks in front of you on a digital screen, and it's good, it's adequate, it's more than you need.
If you look at the power bar does seem to flick around quite a lot, doesn't it? It's not very smooth. Can you see the little bar going up and down there?
Yeah. But
the drive's smooth, so who cares?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we don't have any prices for this car, do we?
No.
That's BYD aren't selling to the market here for some reason. Unbeknown to me, I don't know why they wouldn't, but they are selling to fleet customers, so that's how this car has come to be in a fleet of taxis, a fleet of 10 taxis, soon to be expanded. But I really think they're missing a trick here, and I think if they sold this car, they would sell it.
people like my stepdad who love this sort of styling, a sort of big, beefy 4x4 type looking car, I think it's the sort of thing he would really like, and it might convince him to go fully EV. You'd never know.
If he could buy one.
If he could buy one.
Yeah, that's a good point. This was rated at 186 miles, and that was the manufacturer who said that. I spoke to a taxi driver earlier and asked him, and he said 190 miles. The guy who runs a company said he thinks realistically 160 to 180, but that is more than nearly every other EV on the market so far. And
it's true. It's true to its rate. It's true to its range. So I don't understand it. I think they are. I think, like James says, they're missing a trick.
Yeah, definitely. In terms of the ride quality, it is quite firm.
Yes.
You can feel that it's got a big battery bolted to the bottom. This is not as big as our Tesla, which has a 75 kilowatt battery, but it is probably, I would say, the size of an Audi A3.
It's hard to judge it, isn't it? Because it's such a different shape to our Tesla. I don't know.
But you can definitely feel it's got the weight of the battery in there, but it deals with it quite well. It seems to manage the weight with no problems.
Yeah.
It just gets on with it, no issues, just sails along.
No issues with handling.
No.
It takes a bit of getting used to, because it's a different style of driving to the what I'm used to. But since we've had it for the last couple of hours, I've settled into it pretty easy. James might say a different story, but in terms of the regen, it's definitely there. You can feel it, and it's definitely more aggressive than some of the other EVs I've driven. But, you know, it's not a bad thing. At least you know it's doing it.
The regen draws 40 kilowatts at maximum. And you can see the way they've mapped that, so it comes in smoothly and then it goes out smoothly as well. It will increase if you put your foot on the brake. I'm quite impressed by it. I can really understand why, as a taxi driver, you would use this.
Yeah.
It just makes absolute economic sense. This car will come with insurance, fuel included, maintenance included.
Yeah.
Rob, the guy who runs a company, has said that in terms of maintenance, it's been very low. They've only been running 8 weeks.
Oh, serious?
Yeah, 8 weeks. And he comes across as somebody who's been running a lot longer, but they've been running 8 weeks, and some of the cars have done 25,000 miles.
Wowzers.
In 8 weeks. That's 2 months.
That's insane.
25,000 miles.
They're getting used.
Yeah, they are.
And I think that, I have to say, is one good reason for the plastic, because if they're being used so much, they're so easy to clean.
But they don't look like it, do they? You wouldn't think this car's got 25,000 miles on it.
No, you definitely wouldn't. But they're just a wet cloth, give it a wipe.
Yeah, definitely.
Done. I'll tell you, the other good thing about it being a taxi is that it's going to spread the word, because there's going to be people out there who've never been in an electric car, and they're going to get in this car and they're going to be thinking, what is this? It's different.
Yes. That's funny you should say that, because we had that conversation earlier.
Did you?
Yeah, about how many people this car will touch.
All those doubters.
Yeah.
You know, are going to be driven around in an electric taxi.
Yeah.
Can't be a bad thing.
Can't be, can it? You impressed?
I am impressed, yeah. I wasn't sure what to expect, if I'm honest.
Yeah, you're impressed because you thought it was going to be rubbish.
Yes.
Because did you think it was going to be rubbish because it was Chinese?
I don't want to say that. But
yeah, but it's true, isn't it? We in this country think everything from China is rubbish. And
you expect everything from China to be plasticky and a bit breakable.
Yeah, yeah. And actually, God, they need to put this on the market. They do.
Yeah, they do. It'd be interesting just to see what would happen if they just brought a few over and, you know, tried to sell them first. Yeah. It's a big step for them, I guess, isn't it? It's going to cost them a lot of money to bring it over here, and they need to be sure it's going to work. Come on, come on.
It's in eco.
It's in eco.
Yeah. So we just had a quick swap. Let's have a look at the features that you get inside. So you get the anti-hijack, where the doors all lock when you pull away. You get 4 electric windows, electric mirrors, heated mirrors, aircon. You get a CD player, USB, all that sort of caper. A TFT display. I'm pretty sure it's TFT display. It might be LED, but I think it's TFT. You get vanity mirrors, lit vanity mirrors in the sun visors. You get auto dimming rear view mirror. You've even got 2 little funky lights here. which you can't see because it's daytime. But they just project down here to light up the centre console in a dim sort of orangey light. Volkswagen, I think, used 2 red lights, and it's very similar. But that's a nice little touch, something that I wish we had in the Tesla.
It's got a lot in it for, you know, compared to its other kind of what you'd say might be competitors like the Zoe and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's pretty well spec'd.
It is.
It's even got a nice armrest. Actually, that's quite a nice feature.
In genuine fake leather.
But who cares? It's wipeable. It's cleanable.
It is. The mirrors, the side mirrors are huge. Really good vision there. LED indicators, which I like. So that's my foot flat to the floor, and that's not bad.
It's all right.
Come on, we're doing 60.
What are we in? Are we in sport mode?
Yes, we are. We are in sport mode.
It's all right. It's fine.
It's got keyless entry, which is nice as well.
Is it?
Yeah, keyless entry, keyless start. So you might recognise this key. That's the same key card that Renault use. But then you've also got this key, which is nothing that I've ever seen before. The gear selector, you will see, is straight out of a Prius. The start button is straight out of a Prius. The headlight adjuster is out of a Prius. There's quite a few bits out of a Prius. But then, if you look where they are in the world, they're going to share components.
Yeah.
So we're now driving along the A444 from the Nuneaton towards the M6, and it's drawing 20 kilowatts. We're doing 73 miles an hour. 70 miles an hour.
We're doing the speed limit.
But it feels solid on the road. It doesn't seem to bounce around the road. It doesn't, you know, like some cars, you get that jumpiness. And
I'd be more than happy if this picked me up to take me to the airport.
God, I would.
Yeah.
Well, one, because it's an EV. I'd be happy to be picked up in any EV.
And to be going to the airport.
Yeah. When we say that the refinement is less, there's other parts where actually the refinement is completely on par. Things like the wipers, the screen wash, the spray of it. I know that's just a small thing, but these are important things that are often overlooked. The wipers clear the screen really well, they're very quiet, and the spray covers the whole screen when you turn it on.
We've had cars, or we've driven cars, when the spray kind of reaches half the screen and you end up with this big smear, and it's frustrating. It is frustrating. It's been well thought out. And just on my favourite topic, which is seats, these are not bad. They are pretty comfortable. They're in a good position.
They are. Are they heated? Because I feel like my bum's getting warm.
I feel like I'm warm. I think it's the very real leather.
Yes, that will be what it is. I can honestly say though, how do you feel about this as a statement? Would you feel happier going further in this than in a 30 kilowatt Leaf? I feel that this is more capable, a much more capable car, and it's got a 60 kilowatt hour battery in.
I think for that reason, even if it was just for that, the fact that you can get a car of a similar spec to a Nissan Leaf, comparable spec, that is 60 kilowatt hours, it's amazing.
We're doing 70 miles an hour, and it's...
In the Leaf, if we were doing 70 miles an hour, we'd be in a rush, and we'd be thinking we need to stop and charge.
And this is not aerodynamic, by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, the front end is very brick-esque. Is that the right word?
I think people will know what you mean.
Brick-esque?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
But yeah, it's not got the aerodynamics of the Leaf with its funky lights and all of that, but...
I'm almost jealous that the Chinese have these, and we don't.
Just on our way back now to take the BYD back to Rob, and a massive thank you to him for letting us have a go in his car. Thanks for watching, we hope you've enjoyed it, we certainly have, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will be back shortly with another episode.